Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Super Late Model Touring Series brought to you by the American Sim Racing Club, Team Goon Squad, and your host, Gareth McAllister, alongside our brand new sponsor for the series, Advantage Auctions. Auctions take place on Wednesdays, ending at 8 p.m., so I believe that's just before our usual race start. And auctioning off a whole bunch of goodies. Definitely check out their website at www.advantage-auctions.com. We have quite a field ready tonight as we get qualifying briefly underway. We're going to quickly watch Michael Sturgill Jr. He's going to be the first one out on track tonight, as he makes his way around the bull ring. Very, very tight track, only a stone's throw away from the big Las Vegas Motor Speedway. A 0.37 mile track, so very small indeed. So we will get that tower show up for now so you can see exactly where your favorite drivers are. In practice, hitting speeds of around 100, 105 mile an hour, so we should be looking for a very good race, some very small speeds, but a very small track to go along with those speeds. So we are looking at quite the event going to be unfolding. We're going to have 8-lap heat races and a 100-lap feature event. With the last few remaining drivers going to throw their hand in the ring. Stephen Hoffman going to be one of those with a final dash to see how they can stack up in this 19-car grid. These super late models, very difficult to control, but these drivers know just how to get the most out of their cars. As Hoffman's going to put his late model squarely third position now, just edging out Hayden Swank in the 4th position at the moment. Qualifying will conclude and we will head into our heat races in just a moment. No tyres behind pit wall. And really no reason to come down pit lane at all here tonight. But if they do decide to, they're going to be going from 100 to 30 miles an hour. So that is definitely going to be a change in pace for sure. Starting out Heat 1, we're going to have John DeMista starting on pole for this Heat 1 race. John Kane is going to be in 2nd position. Nathan Henry in 3rd. Ron Hart in 4th. There we go. I can bring up the actual tower for us. Devin McDonald in 5th. Hayden Swank in 6th. And Andrew Payne will be in our final position here in the sprint race. I say sprint race, I mean heat race. We all know what I meant by that one. We get ready to unleash these super late model machines here. Just after one more quick lap behind the pace truck. Bullring opened in 1985, 0 degrees of banking on the straights and 8 degrees of the turns. So not that much help to these drivers, as they effectively get their giant bumper cars getting ready to go underway. Huge jump from Nathan Henry getting way out in front. Devin McDonald following through. John Kane left on the high side. Ron Hart going underneath as well. Hayden Swank also trying to follow him through. Oh, come on, please, Tower Machine. Alright, hopefully that gets sorted out pretty quick, but at the moment, Devin McDonald up front, Ron Hart, Hayden Swank in third under fire. Actually going past Nathan Henry there. There we go, as our tower seems to have booted up in a proper manner. Hayden Swank now making a move on Ron Hart. He's turned him and they go around, both go around. Caution's not going to come out, surely. And yes, it has. It's just not showing up on our timing screen. There it is. So that was going to be the move. Hayden Swank just throwing it in deep and getting into the side of Ron Hart. Goes around, and Swank also falling victim to his own send there. Also going around. I believe no other cars damaged in that one. So should get the ball rolling once again. Come on, go back to live. Why are we having these issues up in the booth? I do not know. Alright, finally, hopefully that fixes it. Please fix. Alright, we've got some serious issues going up in the booth now. And I believe we're back to green. Are we on green? Or are we still behind? I'm not sure. I believe we're going to be back to green. We're just going to pretend like we are. Steve McDonald leads them around. Nathan Henry in second. Andrew Payne in third. Ron Hart following just behind. Been shown a checkered flag. However, we cannot see any of the results or anything. That has that has blown past my mind. I apologize for the outskirts of that one. I couldn't even tell who came on top in that race. Hopefully our systems are back up and running the way they should be. We get ready for the second heat race here. Kenneth Farmer is actually going to be starting on pole. Tanner Tallarico is going to be our race control tonight, unfortunately showing up as a car himself. Brian Wilderson in second position, which means Mark Welch will be in third. David Payton will be in fourth. Charles Darling in fifth. And Michael Sturgill Jr. will be starting in the sixth position. As we get the field changed up just a little bit here before the heat race. So Brian Wilderson is going to be leading. Is there with Mark Welch just alongside Charles Darling, David Payton, Michael Sturgill Jr. and Kenneth Farmer was the one car that dropped back to the 6th position. All back to the tail end of the starting heat race for us tonight. Brian Wilderson, I'm sure, going to go for that epic launch that we've seen him do quite a few times. Welch is going to try and predict exactly when Wilderson tries to go. Wasn't able to do so, and it looks like a spin there. Oh, and upside down goes Welch. We will hope we don't break our live timing software as we take a quick look at what just happened there. Wilderson gets a run. Welch left wanting a little bit, and it looks like Charles Darling came in. And no, Welch didn't go super high. Darling thought that there'd be more room. Just a bit of contact. And around and upside down goes Mark Welch. Oh, not again. Alright, I believe we are back to green at the moment. So, Wilderson... No, we are not. We're under caution. Why are you doing this to me now? I've heard the green flag call over my headset, but I cannot see it. I think we might make the decision to not view replays for the rest of this race after this. This is getting a little bit ridiculous. As we've got another crash, what I'm being told, after they've just gone to green. Wonder if we can see that one. Yes, we can. I believe this will be it. Maybe my timing screen is proving me wrong once again. This is getting ridiculous up here in the booth. I sincerely apologize to everyone watching at home, trying to enjoy the action. I am trying to provide it, although abysmally. As you can see, the 90 machine spun around there of Michael Sturgill Jr., so I think that brought out our second caution. Alright, so hopefully we've dialed it back to live. Please. No, we have not. All new graphics, all new settings, all new overlay we have brought here to this show tonight. And as you can tell, clearly still got some bugs to figure out. As I believe it's not even doing justice and showing it properly on my live timing data screen either. So this is just not, I'm not doing this, the justice to the league or the brand new sponsor. to our advantage auctions. Auction. So I think we're going to ban replays in the rest of this one, because there is no way I'm having this happen in the feature event for 100 laps. And yep, I'm going to make that executive decision right here, right now. So starting our third heat race, and hopefully one that doesn't end in chaos, we will be having Zach Rush up front, Dante Hewer alongside Franklin Evans and Donovan Carty in our second row, Tim Rogers and Stephen Hoffman in our third and final row for the third heat race of the night. So everything's seeming to work fine as long as we don't hit that replay button, so we're going to avoid that one. As Zach Rush and Hewer are going to go side by side to start this one off. Hewer tries very difficult to predict when the start's going to go, and there it is. Predicted pretty well, though, as Rush didn't get as far away as some of the other heat races we've seen in the past. Going high, Franklin Evans gets into Rush. Rush, gets into Hewer, falling back there. Donovan Carty also went around a little bit as well. New paint job for him, Bass Pro Shops being shown on the front of that 3 machine. As I said, no replay buttons here tonight. We're going to roll with it. There's a few new paint jobs that I am finding out just now. Tim Rogers with a nice new paint job coming in there. Donovan Carty as well, and Hewer, I believe, as well, has a brand new paint job. Just at the back there. So at the moment, Rush, Evans, Rogers, Hoffman, Carty, Hewer, they go back under green pretty quickly. As Evans gets tagged by Rogers just behind. Evans goes back up into traffic. Looked like everyone was able to get through, if with a little nudge. No real damage much at all. So that's good for most of the field. You are getting a lot of damage, you can see on the right side of that machine. 00 having issues. As well as Hoffman has a tiny bit of damage there. Rush is still looking quite pretty out in front. This heat race already spicing up more than our last 2 heat races. Mind you, when you can follow the action, it gets a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? As Zach Rush gets ready to lead them off once again, and then they go, already bumping and grinding from the sounds of it. Hoffman and Carty going at it. Just behind them, Hewer going really high. That's not going to help as Evans takes that position away. As Rush goes high, Hoffman underneath. Rogers has taken over the first place spot. Rush goes way too high, allowing everyone. Dante Hewer looks like has had an engine failure. That's a first. We haven't seen the heat races especially. As Donovan goes for a little bit of a spin, causing yet another caution. Only 6 cars on track and already this much action. Without a replay button, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see too much, but we'll give it a go as best we can. Very, very, very short caution laps here. It's almost as if I queued up a replay, I'd almost miss the action coming back to green anyway. As that pace truck makes his way around incredibly quickly. For those who haven't heard, Barney the Flagman has gone to flag training and should be doing his best to wave his arms around much nicer and cleaner than he has done in the past. So that's something that we can all agree is fantastic. So good on Barney the Flagman. As Tim Rogers makes his way back to green. Stephen Hoffman just behind. Zach Rush going very wide once again, just not getting the braking point dialed in quite as yet as Franklin Evans goes round. Hoffman tries to dive onto the inside of Rogers. Nothing doing at the moment, but still stalking the back of the number 48 machine. Hoffman with a little different line to Rogers just in front. Rogers sending it a little bit too deep. Hoffman preferring the run out of the corner. Go to the white flag. Hoffman takes a sniff, but Rogers is able to keep him at bay. As Rogers takes it, Hoffman just behind, Evan in third, Rush in fourth, Cardi in fifth, and Huber in sixth, both with issues a little bit further back in pack. All right, as we get warmed up, just giving you a view here of just how small the bull ring is. Just a stone's throw away. You can see Vegas there in the background, the big track hosting all the big events. And this little bull ring doing its job, arguably hosting races more exciting, I would say, than Las Vegas. I understand that's a personal opinion, but certainly one that I have. This is almost the view you get from being a spectator, a little bit higher up than the spectators. A little bit of a bump there to one of the drivers. Certainly what I've noticed about NASCAR and series like it on these ovals, you definitely get your bang for your buck, which you do not get when you are watching, say, for example, Formula One go around. You see one car, you don't see another one for a minute and a half. The order's the same way. Pay probably a bit more money, if not the same. I'm pretty sure a little bit more. What you pay for any oval track and get racing the entire way through. So definitely a better spend of money in my book. Sorry for any F1 fans out there. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And as we get ready to grid up for the start of this one, we've got 19, so quite a few drivers to get through, as we're going to have Devin McDonald starting on pole position, Brian Wilderson in second place, Tim Rogers and Andrew Payne taking up our second row. Third row, David Payton and Stephen Hoffman. Ron Hart, Charles Darling in our fourth row. Franklin Evans, Nathan Henry in our fifth row. Michael Sturgill Jr. and Zach Rush in our sixth row. Cycling it a little bit further back. Hayden Swank in the 13th position. Kenneth Farmer alongside. That's going to be the seventh row. Donovan Cardy and John Kane is going to be in our eighth row. Mark Welch, Dante Hewer is going to be 17th and 18th. And John DeMista will be our 19th place driver, hanging on the back at the tail end of the field. So quite a lot of cars, a little bit less of a turnout than we were expecting. We've had a few cars that have been told that they are not going to show up that usually would, purely based on reality. So that is obviously fair enough. As get the cars lined up once again, Devin McDonald, the lone Canadian out on track, is going to be setting the pace heading into the start of this race. Ace Truck's going to go around one more time and come straight down very small pit road. 0.37 of a mile, remember, the bull ring living up to its name. As we've had many drivers involved in collisions already, some drivers going upside down. We'll see what happens as we get this one underway. Looks like we've got an extended caution, probably some cars just getting an idea of exactly where they should be, considering how small the track is. As we get ready to unleash all that waiting horsepower. Devin McDonald with a huge jump, not wasting any time at all. Brian Wilderson left wanting. Tim Rogers getting underneath. Stephen Hoffman just behind as well. You do not want to be caught on that outside. We already have a caution come out straight away. Donovan Cardi, and it looks like Andrew Payne might have had some involvement in that as well. Mark Welch also showing up as having a little bit of an incident. I'm very afraid to touch that replay button from past experience, so I'm going to decide not to do that. As we will get that one sorted out for you for sure by next week. Speaking of, thank you for tuning back in to the Super Late Model Series, Super Late Model Touring Series, brought to you by ASRC, American Sim Racing Club. As we have had our 2-week break and are now back to week on week on week. I believe all the way through the end of the season. There is another break, I will let you know, absolutely. Make sure you tune in to all of the action we're going to have here for the rest of this one, and when we get ourselves fixed up from all these bugs by the time next race comes around, as we've got single file restarts for this one. The bull ring very, very small, not wanting multiple cars restarting next to each other, as Devin McDonald, it's another leap out front, not as much as the first initial restart though. A little bit of a fight further back. I say a little, turns out to be a lot, as Farmer and Hewer go side by side. And they are going to be in, it looks like, the 12th and 13th place spots. Non-stop battles. Nathan Henry goes underneath Sturgill Jr. Sorry, Sturgill Jr. goes underneath Henry. Henry falls back a little bit. It's going to be Hoffman relinquishing that spot to Charles Darling, the 5th place position. Having some more issues with the ticker, so we'll move to the tower. A whole lot of things not working up here in the booth quite as expected, as Hart and Henry go at it for the 8th place position. Hart almost looked like got bumped into the back of by Zach Rush just there, a little bit further back. Massive excitement as Franklin Evans tries to get around Dante Hewer. Not quite able to do so, but all of these cars very much under the blanket. go for quite the wide angle and show you just how crazy this track is at the moment. Look at this pack of cars as Franklin Evans goes around on the high side around Hewer. And that's going to be definitely the closest battle at the moment, as they're still side by side. Evans on the high side at the moment. Hewer, and then getting involved as well, John Kane. Chaos, chaos, chaos. But it's all organized as nothing major has been going down so far. Payne trying to work his way back up through the field. And a caution has come out for Mark Welch, who looks as though spun around in a solo incident. So yeah, this is not the race where I wanted to have my replay privileges taken away from me, that's for sure, as we expected quite the show. As our timing software starts to juggle the field around, not sure why it's doing that, but it's right when the pace truck actually comes off of the field, so Rogers is going to be in front, David Patton just behind, Wilderson, McDonald and Darling the top 5. Rogers tries to get away. Peyton predicted it pretty well as Wilderson gets left a little bit further back, but closes the gap very quickly into turn 1. Coming down into turn 3 already. These cars going around the track in 15, 16 seconds. Incredibly hard to keep track of everything going on. As we have Dante Hewer falling a little bit of a ways back there. Stuck on the high side. That will do that to you. A track this small, you definitely do not want to get forced up high. You want to be as low as you possibly can. Rush almost gets a little bit sideways. Thankfully, keeps it underneath him. Going to lose a lot of spots due to that, though. As a little bit further back, Donovan Cardy makes his way around Kenneth Farmer. That's going to be for the 16th spot. Cardy with a little bit of early issues as well. Fairly solid single file racing across almost the entire track at the moment. Except for Franklin Evans, who decides he might want to have a go at Ron Hart here. Nothing doing. Andrew Payne trying to work his way back up through the field. Just behind as well with Hayden Swank, who is doing the exact same thing. So these four are about to make it quite intense as Evans actually tries to go on the high side. That wasn't going to work. Gets into the side of Ron Hart. Andrew Payne goes underneath. And Hayden Swank tries to follow through as well. Hayden Swank trying to lows Evans up on the high side. Evans tags Andrew Payne, trying to get as low as possible. Should be able to feed in just in there. Not the gap wasn't able to be filled in as quick as he wanted to, so Hewer's going to take over that spot as well. Potentially, Evans needs to get down as quick as he can, and they collide, and around they go. It's going to bring out our third caution as Evans and Hewer get into each other. Little bit of a communication breakdown. Looked to me like Evans was trying to make the corner as flat as possible to get the run and stay in that gap, and Ewer had the nose in already alongside. So they got together. Just an unfortunate series of events taking place as both drivers attempt to go for the same real estate. And just like real estate, I'm sure soon enough in the future there's going to be a boom and a crash like what we just saw. Because I don't know about y'all, but the housing market over here in Aussie land is absolutely ridiculous at the moment. But that's going to come with a big crash soon. So currently have the camera on Peyton, following Rogers, Wilderson third, McDonald and Darling still your top five. They haven't changed. As Wilderson tries to give a little bit of a bump and run to Peyton. Peyton having none of it though. Staying very calm and collected under pressure. Not too far behind Tim Rogers. I believe Demister has a accident report as he's found very high to the wall there. But we're going to stay green as this battle has just heated up. Sturgill Jr. has overtaken Charles Darling, and Darling is going to be stuck on the high side. That is going to be absolutely brutal to him as he loses the spot to Hoffman. Hoffman makes sure to keep him up there for Henry trying to get his way through. The 88 machine is fading fast. And he will slot back in after losing 3 positions. Battle just behind Ron Hart and Andrew Payne. Payne going underneath Ron Hart. Swank not letting Hart come down either. There goes Hart just underneath. Looked like there was a little bit of... not so much a battle as that is Demister falling a lap down, letting traffic go by. Rogers still under fire from Peyton and Wilderson. Not too far behind. Still your leaders. Sturgill Jr. now is going to have a mirror completely occupied by Stephen Hoffman as he tries to go around Devin McDonald as well. And does so. McDonald's going to have to fall back in line and does very quickly. Hoffman not able to get the nose in and keep him up high. Oh, Devin McDonald gets tagged a little bit by Hoffman. Hoffman keeps it underneath him. McDonald keeps it underneath him, checking up both cars. And a whole bunch of cars behind him. McDonald is going to suffer massively from that. And lose a massive amount of spots. He's going to have to find a hole. There is a sizable hole behind Hayden Swank, who was the 35 machine, the last one on that low side there. He's going to still try and fight on the high side, use up a little bit more tire than he probably should be doing. As yes, he has let Swank by and will file in behind. That is the smart way around. Potentially have another go a little bit further on, but this race going by very quickly as we've got a battle further back into 13th. Oh, and there's looked like netcode. I don't think there was a touch at all there from what I could see. Kane getting into the back of Ron Hart through the use of internet And yeah, that looked like quite the gap in between those two cars, so I do not believe that was proper contact. Excuse me, my voice decided to run away from me. Make sure to let us know if you're rooting on any particular driver during the broadcast, and we will give a little bit of a highlight, show you how they're running, how they're doing, and what position battle they're in, all the usual jargon. As the Mister is going to take the wave around, it looked like. That was him going by on the high side. Showing him in front of the leaders. That is absolutely not true, as our timing software fixes that one for us. And is going to go through the whole field very slowly for some reason. But that's okay. What we need to know is that at the moment, Tim Rogers is your leader. David Payton sitting in second. Wilderson still in third. Top three have not changed. The big change has come in the position of fourth place. That's going to be the 90 machine of Michael Sturgill Jr. and Stephen Hoffman up into fifth now. As from what we can see, it looks like the pace truck is going to come down to pit lane this time by. This pit lane, a very interesting one. I've never seen a pit lane like it. It almost starts at the checkered flag, then ends... No, starts on the back straight and then ends on the back straight. Very strange. Kind of almost like a circuit in itself, the pit lane, but as that's not exactly important as Tim Rogers takes the green very substantially ahead of David Payton. Wilderson almost tagging the back, same as Sturgill Jr., almost tagging the back of Wilderson as well. Getting very, very close indeed. As they trying to find their way around the track, everyone's searching for where their car should be. Franklin Evans running the high side against Hewer. Hewer's going to be side by side, very, very close indeed. This is going to be for 14th place on track. Trying to look at as many of the side-by-side battles as we can. As that one gets sorted out a little bit. Evans, I'm sure, not happy to be stuck behind Hewer still. Wanting to get past as quick as possible. Up front, this battle continues. Rogers goes a little bit wide. Payton just gets a little bit loose on exit. That's really going to hurt him. Wilderson gets really hurt by that one. Thankfully not able to get undercut by Michael Sturgill Jr. there. As we cycle it further back, Hayden Swank and Andrew Payne still trying to work their way through the field. They've gotten into the top 10, but they seem to have plateaued as they catch up to drivers who are less and less willing to really let them by. I don't think anyone's willing to let them by, but certainly going to fight for their positions a lot harder as they get further up to the front of this pack. Charles Darling just ahead as we go a little bit further back as Devin McDonald looked a little bit high there as Donovan Carty went underneath. We have a battle as Wilderson has gone past David Payton, and we had a caution come out for Demister. Not sure how that one happened. as I said, not yeah, not sure how that one happened, but it looked like a solo car incident, which is definitely, if we have to have an incident, that's the one you want to see. Tried to provide the best possible show here for all the fans watching at home and for our brand new sponsor, Advantage Auctions. Auctions. I got told that I say that word incredibly odd. And, you know, judging from what I've heard from other people, I'd have to agree with them. So I'm learning up here in the booth, as everyone else is learning, I'm sure, at home. You learn something new every day, my grandma taught me, and she was 100% right. Speaking of grandmas and all the rest of it, we'd like to thank family and friends coming out and supporting these drivers. We understand that it's something they love to do, but if you're not getting them to do something else or some other chore and they have the free time to go racing, then you get a gold star in my book, because I certainly love to watch them go around, and I know these drivers absolutely love the competition that they have to drive in. Ace Truck's lights are out. Gonna get ready to go again. Tim Rogers still your leader. David Payton, turns out, held the position from Ryan Wilderson when the caution flag came out. So Payton will be in second, Wilderson third. Sturgill Jr. is still in fourth, and Hoffman still in fifth. So Payton's really going to be trying to predict when Rogers is going to go. Just as he backs off, Rogers hits the gas. That's going to hurt Payton for sure, as Wilderson looks underneath already straight away. Payton's going to have to leave the gap there. Can Payton swing back in? Oh, just barely getting squeezed between Sturgill Jr. and Wilderson, but thankfully not losing more than that spot as Payton fires back. Sorry, getting a little bit loud, a little bit excited on the microphone. As Payton goes underneath Wilderson. Wilderson now in struggle street. He's going to be caught up there on the high side. Hoffman not going to let him come down. It's a free spot for anyone who wants it, except for Brian Wilderson, as he is absolutely stuck. He tries to figure his way out back through. Nathan Henry lets him in. Well, I say let him in. Didn't want to be involved in an accident, so had to give him the space. As it is absolute chaos as Payne goes for a move on Henry. Nothing doing. Checks up the field behind. It looked like there was some action a little bit further back, and there is. Hewer goes very slow underneath. Gets caught by Evans. Evans getting stuck on the outside wall. Well, he paid for all of the track, and he's going to use all of the track. As Evans continues to get into the back of Hewer, just saying go, 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 it's time to go. Where she stops, nobody knows. Da, 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 da. That's a song. Anyway, Nathan Henry is continuing to work on Wilderson, and Swank gets into the back of Payne. Payne goes for a ride. Darling gets involved. Hewer almost. Evans finding his way through as well. Payne getting back up to speed. Woo! We may have lost our replay function, but I am trying, and I believe, without tooting my own horn, succeeding in getting a lot of this action on camera. Payne looking to see if anything is quite broken. Almost looks like. Yeah, looking like he's having trouble turning left, so that's going to be Payne. Took me this long to realize it, but I just said that Payne is going to be Payne because, yeah, God. Sometimes my own jokes are so bad they go over my own head. Anyway. Tim Rogers still your leader for the moment. David Payton continuing to be in second. Sturgill Jr. is now up to third, though. Hoffman just behind, and Wilderson is going to be in the fifth place spot after losing those two spots. This race certainly turning into one of those where you have to keep your line, and if you find that someone has moved you out of the way or chucks their nose in, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to be falling back a long ways. I believe we're halfway in this one. Sixth caution, lap 50. That's what our timing sheet is showing. Our timing screen is showing, I should say. And we're going to go under green. Rogers with another big jump. He knows how to get the ball rolling and rolls it well. I'm sure he's built plenty of snowmans in his time as Stephen Hoffman gets under fire from Wilderson just behind, as well as trying to go after Sturgill. A little bit further back, Hayden Swank goes underneath Henry. Darling trying to follow through as well. Darling with a tiny bit of damage after hitting Andrew Payne as he got spun around. Darling able to make that pass stick. Ooh, Cardi looking like a little bit of a squirrel going round. Able to keep the car underneath him as Nathan Henry folds back into 8th position from 6th, so only losing 2 spots. Could be a lot worse, as it looked like Devin McDonald was on the high side there, and is, as Franklin Evans works his way underneath him. And John Kane not able to follow him through, so Devin McDonald will find himself back in line. As we go further up front, Wilderson, Swank, Hoffman all on screen. Wilderson in the center, Swank behind, Hoffman just in front. Wilderson taking a slightly different line, a little bit higher than the other cars around him. And decides to correct it as soon as we say it. Goes very, very low. Hoffman, as we know, no stranger to being under fire from behind. Probably one of the calmer drivers in this field, being pressured and able to not have that affect his racing line at all. But as I say that, looks like Wilderson has found the place to throw his nose, and throw his nose he does. There's a little bit of contact. Hoffman shoved up into the wall twice there by Swank as well. Darling sends it in deep underneath to try and follow through. Hoffman is not going to let him do so, and Hoffman is going to take that spot. So Hoffman's fallen down 2 now from 4th to 6th. And Swank will find himself in the top 5. Oh no. McDonald has gone for a wild ride. And we're also showing John Kane. So I believe John Kane may have been involved in that one. 7th caution, lap 60. Still up front, Tim Rogers, David Payton have not changed at all, sitting first and second. Michael Sturgill Jr. in third, followed by Brian Wilderson and Hayden Swank. Devin McDonald comes down pit road. So Devin McDonald starting off in the lead. Our lone Canadian on track starting out in the lead and having issues later on in this run. See Barney there, just quickly going through, holding the yellow flag. Donald coming out of pit road there now. Peyton showing he is ready to go. Not sure if you could hear that as well as I could, but his engine was roaring as he practices his race launches from the start. Roger's still going to have overall say of when they go, though. As you can see, it's quite a healthy field. A lot of drivers for such a small track. Very, very nice to see. They get ready to go underway once more. Rogers gets the launch that he wanted. David Payton not left as far back as he has been in the past. So we'll see if that has anything happening. We've got Dante Hewer and Ron Hart going side by side. Hewer falling down the standings very, very quickly. We were afraid there was going to be a crash report. Doesn't look like there is one, as he is just very high and getting passed now by John Kane on the low side. Also by Andrew Payne just ahead as well. A lot of drivers we can see checking up there to allow for the driver in front not to get really hunted into more than anything else. As the 93 of Andrew Payne goes around Franklin Evans now, making his way up into the 11th position. Got a battle up front. I missed the lead change. What am I doing? Tim Rogers gets stuck on the high side. David Payton goes underneath. So does Michael Sturgill Jr. So does Wilderson. Rogers falling back. The 48 machine on Struggle Street. Swank making sure to give enough room, but also staying very low, making sure the 48 stays up there. Taking that position away. Hoffman not giving him any room at all, as Rogers has just nowhere to go and is going to be falling back and falling back hard. Rogers stuck out there. He's going to have a little bit of a gap here if he can fill it. Darling trying to make sure that that's not a gap that he can be in, and does so. Darling almost gets turned around through the problems caused by that, though. And Rogers able to filter into the 6th position from first. So not losing as many spots as I'm sure he was afraid he was going to, but still a massive loss there. As Ron Hart really showing a lot more pace than I think I've seen in recent races. So fantastic drive from the 51 machine. Very close here. Hayden Swank trying all he can to get into the top 3, just behind Brian Wilderson. Cycling on further back, John Kane is going to be fighting with Franklin Evans once again. These two have been fighting a lot. Donovan Carty also under fire from Andrew Payne going underneath. Andrew Payne not wasting any time, making his way back up through the field for the second time here tonight. Go further up front. These top few drivers are all very, very close together. The top 7, each one separated from each other by less than half a second. And less than 2 seconds in total. Oh, Swank I almost thought Swank was going to go for a little bit of a dive there on Wilderson. Decided better of it. But I can tell it almost, you can see the car's language almost looks like it, as it looks like Hewer has had a, oh yes, we definitely had Barney throwing the yellow out for Hewer. He spins himself back around. Not showing anyone else involved in that one. That doesn't necessarily mean that he had a solo spin. But definitely facing the wrong way on track is not what you should be doing. Unless you're Lightning McQueen or Mater, the world's best backwards driver, I'm not sure that one's going to work as well as he expected. He's going to find himself falling back a ways down the pack. So your leader still sitting up near the front, has not moved from near the front, but has definitely solidified himself into the first position. David Payton, Michael Sturgill Jr. has also made his way up 9 spots, Michael Sturgill Jr., so he's made his way up more than anyone else at the moment, on equal footing with Hayden Swank in 4th. In between them is Brian Wilderson and Stephen Hoffman, 5th at the moment. I must admit, a lot of these paint jobs very vivid, getting very used to who I'm looking at out on track with just a glance, not even having to look at the number or the name of the person behind the wheel. But at the same time, it's always nice to see when there are brand new paint schemes coming out and they can be shown off to the fans. One thing that we know that will be certain to stay the same is Hayden Swank's very vivid colors, as I believe that is quite a few. I believe he changes colors almost every race, but it's always very, very bright and very easy to see, which we are very appreciative of, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers cheering him on are going to feel the exact same way about it. The pace truck is off. David Payton still leading the field. Sturgill Jr., Wilderson, Swank, and Hoffman, the top 5. Payton with a jump, wanted to get it the way that he saw Tim Rogers do so many times, and seeming to do just that, as Wilderson is trying to go underneath Sturgill Jr. here for the second place spot. Does so. Sturgill Jr. is going to be trapped up there and try and field his way in the gap. The gap not big enough though, as Swank makes sure of it. Sturgill Jr. just ever so slightly falling back, but trying very hard to stick it on the high side. It's a very, very difficult situation to be in, as he is currently has a small gap behind Swank, but not able to fall into it. Hoffman Hoffman, while trying to find that gap, was almost under fire by Tim Rogers just behind. So thankfully, for him, I guess, Tim Rogers was not able to make that one stick after his little bobble. Sturgill Jr. has only lost those 2 places, sticking it in 4th. A little bit further back, Ron Hart is going to go around Tim Rogers. Rogers does not like that high side at all. And continues to get filed back as Darling goes underneath. And there is the man, Andrew Payne, just behind. Here comes the Payne train. So Andrew Payne makes his way through. Tim Rogers is going to file in front of Evans. That's going to be for the 9th position there. The closest battle on track at the moment, believe it or not, is going to be Wilderson and Swank. The top drivers in this field are no strangers to finding themselves around the same people all the livelong day, as these drivers, so many of them are so close on pace. Well, they're all so close on pace and so quick that finding the gap is very, very difficult. And it almost gets to the point where, with these last 15 laps to go, it'll almost get to the point where you've got to defend harder than you want. And really that's going to allow the driver behind to actually get closer, as it looked like Wilderson got a little bit loose. Swank taking advantage. Swank is going to make that move. Wilderson wants to cut down. Sturgill says no. There's contact. Sturgill had to give it up. Wilderson got back into the 3rd position. But further back, Andrew Payne on Charles Darling here. These two have gone and had quite a few battles in the past. No strangers to running very, very similar lap times and very close together. As Payne makes his way around, Darling doesn't want to lose more than that. 1 spot. As Wilderson under fire from Sturgill again. Sturgill looks very low, getting a nice run off the corner. Wilderson sends it in deep. Sturgill's going to take it away. Wilderson is going to get caught up on the high side. Hoffman's going to send it in. There's slight contact maybe, as Wilderson still struggling on the high side. Hoffman now getting into the 51 machine. Ron Hart. Wilderson makes sure he's there and slots in front of Andrew Payne just behind. 51 machine of Ron Hart now sending it in on Hoffman. Hoffman has to go up high to avoid. And makes that move. There's a little bit of netcode contact and around they go. Just behind. All getting sorted out. Unbelievable car control from these guys. All 4 of these cars are going to be right next to each other, bumping and grinding. Oh wow, this is not a demolition derby, folks. This is ASRC in the Super Late models. And this is just as crazy as it normally is. It is absolutely amazing and chaotic near this field. All drivers showing very, very high amounts of respect, as well as the appropriate level of aggression expected of a racing driver. 4 laps to go. We are winding the clock down as this battle continues to be what we want to watch, because there's a lot of big names and a lot of close racing. Darling, Hoffman, Payne in the middle, Donovan Carty and Tim Rogers. Also Franklin Evans getting his nose a little bit in camera there. Not too far behind. There's Franklin Evans. as we come to 2 laps to go. Working their way through traffic. Wilderson gets hurt by that as well. Demister gets out of the way. That is the traffic. White flag is out. Gonna jump on board with Peyton. Under fire from Swank for the final lap. Really having to lock down Swank, avoiding any potential move. Swank brings it home in second. Sturgill Jr. brings it home in the 3rd position. What more can you ask for from ASRC at the Bullring? Incredible racing, fantastic result. And speaking of results, there they are. David Peyton finishes home in the 1st position, Hayden Swank in 2nd, Michael Sturgill Jr. in the 3rd spot. Cycling it back just a tiny bit. There is Mark Welch and Tanner Tallarico once again not actually showing as a car, but not actually being a car. Go back a ways and see if we can get some of these drivers up into victory lane more than anything else, into the broadcast booth with me. It's going to be fun to talk to these drivers after that race, which is basically just absolutely chock full of excitement. See if we get our 3rd place driver up in here. Where is Sturgeon? There he is. Drag him down. Michael Sturgill Jr. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, how was that race from your perspective? I have to ask because that was absolute chaos, but almost seemed like organized chaos in a way.
Yeah. So I was streaming, as I usually do, and Streamlabs, I don't know, it freaked out and it popped up a pop-up right in the middle of my main monitor. So the last 25 laps, I was driving with that on the screen, so that was not fun. It was definitely chaos.
That's, I mean, what can I say apart from how did you finish 3rd? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, the good thing is it was right in the center, so I still could kind of see into the corner. So I just stayed looking into the corner, and the straightaways aren't very long here, so it didn't really affect me there too much.
Well, I've got to say, was the main that I mean, I've got to say, first of all, congratulations for coming 3rd once again, especially with that nuisance on screen. But I do have to say, how did you make your way through to 3rd position? Because you were one of the 2nd biggest mover out on track during this race. Was it, you find it difficult to pass traffic?
You had to set guys up. I try to usually get at least one spot every restart. And I think I was able to do that for the most part. But yeah, other than that, you just had to really kind of try to get a better run out of the corner and then get on their inside because the bottom was king here.
All right. Well, I mean, we certainly saw that during the race. There's no doubt about it. So before we send you off, Michael, who would you like to give a shout out to for this 3rd place here tonight?
You for broadcasting these things, the admins for putting on the league, all the drivers in it, Nick at Advantage Auction for sponsoring it, everyone watching, which includes my dad and my girlfriend, and I think that's got it. Glad to see David get a win here.
All right. So I guess the last thing to say is have a happy new year, and we will see you in the new year.
Sounds good. You do too.
All right, that was Sturgill Jr. taking home our third place position. Up next, we're going to drag down Hayden Swank, who had a little bit of mic trouble earlier on when we were trying to talk to him. Hayden Swank, have you got your mic fixed?
Hey, I got it fixed.
Well, it's good to hear from you, and I can't say much more than what a drive.
Yeah, I honestly thought our night was over. Lap one, turn one. I was like, oh great, this is going to be a lot of fun. But we were able to come through the field. Didn't burn up the tires too much, so it's definitely a crazy fight there.
Yeah, it looked like a crazy fight. You and Andrew Payne are always neck and neck, always putting on a good show, and it just looked like he got involved in a little bit of an incident, and you were able to keep it clean, and he was trying to keep tabs on you, but you just seemed to walk away and go through the field. Did you find it very difficult to pass anyone? And if so, who was the biggest rival, I guess, out there on the track?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm very sorry with the contact with the 93 and Andrew. When he got into that wall, I just misjudged how much speed he would still carry coming off it. So I hate that kind of ruined his night. But at the end there, we still had a good fight with Brian. He did really good there. Those last 50 or so laps, and then obviously at the end with David, he drove his heart out. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Swank, tell me, what's your do you keep coming here with I have to ask because I keep on seeing it. You keep coming here with different paint jobs because they all seem sort of similar with very bright colors, very easily identifiable, but they all seem slightly different at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I like to mix it up. I definitely have a style, just loud, crazy, doing something that doesn't look like.
Oh, I think we might have lost you, Hayden. All right, I think we may have lost Hayden up here in the booth. That sounded like a bit of a cutoff. So we'll give Hayden a small amount of time to come back, as it looks like I may have had a problem. Oh, yep, I'm having the problem up here in the booth. Interesting. If we can get that one righted, does not look like it's wanting to play ball. Let me finish the interviews. Why Australian internet? Why? We're gonna. I guess we're gonna continue trying to connect and hope that it works. But if not, I'm quite upset because I was very much wanting to hear from David Payton as well, up in the top spot. Failing to connect to our server. So unfortunately, first time we get the winner of David Payton. Everyone seems very happy that he won. And nice, likable guy. I've talked to him as well, and I can't talk to him now. That's a shame, isn't it? Oh well. Hey, we're back. Aiden, you still got me.
I'm here. You got me?
All right, I've got you back. Thankfully, I waited just long enough for my internet to come back to me. So I apologize for that one.
Oh, no worries. I was wondering what happened to you.
Yeah, I think Australia just hit me with a little bit of a punch there, but we're all good. We're back in the booth, and I've forgotten where I left off.
I think we were talking about battling. I don't know who battled a lot of guys, but something about battling.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, there were a lot of battles on track, that's for sure, and while I've got you before my internet cuts out, of course, I've have to do this because obviously I have to do it for everyone. But who would you like to give a shout out to for the second place? It was a fantastic race to get there.
Yeah, well, first off, huge shout out to Advantage Auctions for sponsoring this series. I'm glad to see them support the series, and I'm excited to have them on board for the rest of it. And always a huge thanks to American Sim Racing Club for putting the show on, and Overtime for supporting my career. Definitely a good race tonight, and looking to get more next week.
All right, sounds good, Hayden. Have a happy new year, and we will see you in 2023.
You too. Thank you again.
All right, that was Hayden Swank, showing a little bit of swank there himself. I'm not sure how that one's meant to be really processed apart from in my own brain, so apologies for that one. But I meant it in a good way, as we get our first win of the season. David Payton will bring you into the booth. How's it going?
Holy cow, man. I've eaten like 2 sandwiches. I've had a couple beers. You've been having internet issues?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but we're back, which is the main thing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. It was actually my first ASRC win with this league after admin and working with these guys for, well, like 2 years now. Never able to get it done. Gotten close a couple times, but yeah, it's a good feeling to finally get that first one out of the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had a whole lot of competition to try and get there. I mean, you were stuck behind Tim Rogers for the majority of the race, and then you had several other challenges toward the end of it. How do you manage to keep calm under all that pressure?
I wasn't calm. I was freaking out, just shaking, freaking out. I mean, I think that's like with Tim, I've been racing with Tim for years, like sim racing with him for years. So I'm real comfortable around him, and I wasn't even really trying to get by him when I did. It just was like an opportunity that came, and I just went for it. I wasn't really trying to create any opportunities. I think he just kind of slid up a little bit and opened the door, so I took it. And I won, and I knew Hayden was coming. I knew Hayden's quick, and I'm watching him, and I'm just trying to like forget about him and focus on hitting the marks and making the corners and not blowing entries and stuff. And then I think it was on the last corner, last lap, 3 and 4. I was like mirror driving and got on the brakes a little bit too hard, and Hayden probably wasn't expecting that, and he got into the back of me. And I mean, my plan the whole time was just to stay on the bottom and not let him get under me, and he was going to have to turn me to get under me. And it almost happened. Not his fault, more so me just kind of being nervous and worried about that last corner move. So, but that was the plan: just stick it on the bottom and don't let them get a nose under you, and hope I'm there at the end. And it worked out tonight.
Yeah, it seemed to work out very well for you. From what I could see up here in the booth, it looked like you were running the corners quite a bit lower than a lot of your competition, and someone just had a little bit of a bobble. You put your nose right there where you needed it to be. Was that really the goal to get the win, I guess, more than anything at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of them tracks where you pretty much got to pass them on the bottom. You don't really have a whole lot of other options. So, I got lucky and able to get towards the front early on for most of the race, and then it was just sort of ride it out and tick off laps. And if somebody makes a mistake, just try and take advantage of it. Which is, I think that's exactly what got me into the lead tonight.
All right, well, David, I won't take up too much more of your time because I'm sure you want to celebrate a little bit more than just one beer. Did you say one beer or two beers? But you're gonna have more anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few, but they're the non-alcoholic kinds because I quit drinking 10 years ago. So, but I still pretend, which is what we're doing here anyway, right? We're pretending. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, sure, you can pretend with the cars, but we ain't pretending when it comes to the egos and the driver abilities and all that stuff is definitely there.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Garrett, and thanks for doing all the work for us.
Yeah, no worries. It's why does every driver's like, oh yeah, thanks Gareth, and then I get a blush going on. But look, I mean, the end of the day, you do the hard stuff. I just sit here talking, watching, like a viewer, pretty much. So we yeah, I mean, you guys do all the hard work. I just sit here. But it's amazing to watch this whole league, like week in, week out, is just insane. I'm so happy that I was rostered onto fully action for you guys the last few races, and I'm sure we can have a good rest of the season as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, David, once again. Maybe not in first, but definitely in the top three.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's the goal every night. Try and crack into the top five. I know that we have our moments, and as a league, I got to mention we have a new development that just came on just last week, I believe it was, with Nick buying into ASRC and Advantage Auctions sponsoring our league, and things like that are really really hard to come across. And it's awesome when a company steps up and sponsors an iRacing league or a sim racing league, because it allows us to get broadcasts and do cool things for our league members. And so I got to make sure to give a shout out to Nick at Advantage Auctions and thank him for sponsoring our league.
Right, spoken like a true gentleman. So, David, one last time, because I know you got a busy schedule probably planned, which involves sleep, I'm sure. Um, yeah, well, basically, I don't know. I was gonna get you to do shout outs again. Then I thought, oh, hang on, he just did that. So,
Well, I'll also shout out my wife, who's I always got to give the better half a thank you for putting up with my 42-year-old ass sitting here playing video games a couple nights a week. But ironically, this is the one night that she's not home. She's down in Florida. Her dad's getting married again, which is actually going on right now. So it kind of sucks that I wasn't able to celebrate with my better half, who gets real excited about my sim racing and my hobby. She supports it. She's awesome. It's one of the big reasons why I married her. And but I'll definitely shout out to her if she watches this broadcast back. Thanks, baby. Love you.
all right, spoken like an absolute true gentleman. We all love you out here in the field. I know that for certain. So, once again, fantastic talking to you, David, and enjoy the rest of the night as well as the rest of the season and the rest of the year.
You too. Thanks, Gareth.
All right, that was David Payton bringing it home in the top spot. So great racing. I know I talked to him a little bit longer than some of the other guys, but as you heard, he's been here for a while. His first win definitely deserves the spotlight when it is given to him. So fantastic to see everyone happy and supportive of everyone else in this league. It's amazing being a part of it. So here you are, the results one last time for the Super Late Model Touring Series here at the Bullring. We have Peyton first with Swank and Sturgill Jr. in third. Thank you very much once again. I know it's been mentioned a crazy amount, but I will mention it for one more time. Thank you to Nick and Advantage Auction. I'm going to try and say that right. Auctions. All right, as long as it gets said. Check them out at www.advantage-auction.com, as they've got plenty of stuff there for you to go ahead and look at and maybe get yourself something new. Who knows? So, thanks again. I've been your host, Gareth McAllister, with Team Goon Squad, bringing the action 1080p, 60 FPS. If my internet is able to hold it, thankfully. We had a little bit of a bobble earlier, thankfully, nothing much doing. We will see you in, well, basically next week, same time, same place, in the new year. Good night, everyone.